So less than a month after the successful court action that stopped Shell's attempts at seismic surveys on the Wild Coast, it's in search for oil and gas in South Africa's oceans. Small-scale fishers, with the support of a Green Connection, are heading back to court, this time to protect the West Coast, they say, in its confirming affidavit against the minister in the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, filed with the Western Cape High Court. The Green Connection makes official its support of the small-scale fishers who want to preserve their only source of livelihood from further proliferation of offshore oil and gas. Liziwe McDaid is the strategic lead at the Green Connection and joins me now live. Liziwe, a very good evening to you. Thanks indeed for your time. Talk to us about the basis of your court action.
So I think the critical thing is that small-scale fishers are dependent on the ocean for their livelihoods. And the sentiments that are running high is that the ocean has been stolen. Communities were not involved in any consultation about this idea to divide the ocean into blocks and kind of sell them off to foreign companies, which is what it looks like to us. And this court action follows on the heels of the Wild Coast case, but it appears that it's the oil and gas industry is arrogantly going to continue now on the West Coast. So we had no choice but to launch another interdict in order to try and stop this seismic survey. It's a huge area, and the constitutional right of people to be heard, the constitutional right to be protected, as well as the environmental harm that will take place, as we understand from the experts, we need to preserve our ocean for the future. And as I sit here, despite the fact that a court interdict has been launched, we understand that the GPP Pioneer, which is the ship that's doing the seismic survey, has now lined up and is about to start its survey. So in other words, it's about to start blasting the ocean floor, looking for oil and gas.
When is this application, sorry Liziwe, when is this application likely to be heard? You're already expressing concern about work that you say is already about to get underway. Any indication when this court case will be heard?
Well, it's up to the Judge President of the Western Cape High Court, Cape Town High Court, to give a date. And of course, the problem is that damage could already be happening while we get that urgent court date. But I think the important, maybe the positive, is civil society standing strong. Today, fishers were expressing their views against the oil and gas future as it undermines their own livelihoods. And we have to, as a country, sit back and say, why are we pushing a climate disaster in the form of gas, which is 19 times worse in terms of methane emissions than coal? So we need to sit back and rethink our future and make sure that we don't undermine the livelihoods of people with existing livelihoods in the ocean, dependent on the ocean, for what appears to simply be profits for those somehow connected who have got their permits.
You've spoken about the main concerns from small-scale fishers. How many coastal communities is this likely to affect? Perhaps you list that in your argument as well.
Yes, well, I think there are several, about 12 applicants which are small-scale fishers from various coastal communities up and down the coast. And these coastal communities can tell you how decades and generations of fishers have depended on the coast. So again, we are looking at people who have been marginalized and disadvantaged in the past are still not getting a place at the table to decide on their own futures. It's a top-down decision, and we need to turn it around. If we want to strengthen democracy, we must implement the Constitution properly. And maybe, the President's words about the toxic nature of state capture and these kind of corrupt forces need to be rooted out. And we are calling for a moratorium on all these seismic surveys so that we can actually do a proper investigation.
Liziwe McDaid, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Strategic Lead at the Green Connection. Thanks for joining us here on the programme.